teaching you guys how to properly use a cattle/hog syringe and how to properly give a shot, but I sadly don't have a live cow here, which is kind of a downside to this whole thing. But so you can go to Runnings, Tractor Supply, buy different gauge needles. Me and my grandpa typically use 16 gauge needles that are 3/4 of an inch long, just because they're less likely to break off in the cow. Because if they break off in the cow, you got to fish them out, because then you'll have bigger issues if you break the needle off. Then your typical syringe will hold 50 cc's of medicine, and you can change the dosage. So you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and each notch on the actual plunger is a cc. So like say you have it set to 1 cc, it'll only click forward 1 notch. And the rule is you're only supposed to give like 15 to 20 cc's per side of the neck, and the neck is where you want to give your shots. Right behind the head, right in the meat of the neck on the side. And you're only supposed to give, say you have to give 4 shots, you're going to give 2 or 3 in one side and 1 in the other, just to distribute the medicine evenly. And you really, after each time, you feel like you only want to use 1 syringe for 1 medicine. So me and my grandpa have 4 or 5 of these things laying around, just because these plastic breaks, the old glass ones broke. But every time after you get done using them, you want to take them apart and thoroughly clean your plunger and your actual syringe. Just because you leave old medicine in there, it'll get stinky and not clean and gross in there. And you want to make sure this gets tightened back up nice and tight so you don't leak. The different gauges, it's just different sizes of needles. So 16 gauge is kind of a medium. You can go up to a 20 gauge or 22, and it's a fairly small needle. And you can go up to like 2 gauge, which is a very thick needle and doesn't feel nice. But the main reason you give shots is for like preventative, or say your cow has pink eye or foot rot or some other disease, you can give them a shot. But mainly it's for preventative. It's like you going to get your flu shot. You may not have the flu, but you get the flu shot to prevent it. So that's why you vaccinate. Does anyone have any questions on this stuff that I just rambled on about? It seems like you want to ask a question, Ben. Go ahead.
So, like, is there specific brands of medicine or specific brands of needles or?
So the main ones that are out there is Ideal Industries. That's the main ones Running sells, but there are different brands and different medicines, but it's mainly from all the same manufacturer. The medicine doesn't come from Ideal. That comes from like vets and stuff like that, above my pay grade. But yeah, Ideal is one of the main brands for syringes and needles out there.
So is it like like you get a prescription from the vet for your herd?
Yes and no. So say your bull gets foot rot and the vet comes out and he says, give this bull 15 cc's of antibiotics per day for the next week. That's like a prescribed. You're doing preventative vaccines, you can go to Runnings and buy just your medicine that you're going to give. So it doesn't have to be prescribed, but it can be.
And they have intervals too.
Yes.
Like when cows are coming through the sort gate out of the parlor, they have a certain.
When we wean our calves, we give them a first round of vaccines, which is our vaccine and then pour on to prevent lice and ringworm and all that good shit. And then 2 weeks later, we'll give them another round of shots and another round of pour on. So yes, there is, and then also if you give cattle vaccines and you're going to send them to a butcher, there's what is called a withdrawal date, that you have to wait so long after giving. Say it's 14 days after you give a cow a shot, you cannot bring them to a butcher.
Just for cross contamination reasons.
So you don't ingest the medicine.
Yep.
Because
You don't want that in
you
there.
don't want that in your system.
It's got to be weaned out through there.
Yeah. Any other questions?
How much was one of them cost?
The 3 needles and this syringe was $35 at Runnings. So this was like 25, and that was 5, and then plus tax.
Decently affordable.
So it was actually, they're fairly cheap to buy, but you can get better brands or better, like bigger. The medicine is where they get you. The medicine's like $100 a bottle, and
Yeah.
it's
And they're
stupid.
they're what, that big maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, they're 500 milligrams.
Which you can treat a lot of cows with that,
yeah.
but
And then each one is like, say you have a 1,500 pound cow, you're gonna put like 30 cc's of medicine in them, and then you do it so many times per side. So yeah, the 3 needles in this was $35. So it's fairly affordable. Any other questions? Thank you for listening.